unconventional tariffs. Trump's final stand, as the clock ticks down to August 1st, a pivotal moment in global trade dynamics. President Donald Trump's Liberation Day strategy is set to unleash a significant round of reciprocal tariffs. Trump has been unyielding, declaring on Truth Social, "The August 1st deadline is the August 1st deadline. It stands strong and will not be extended. A big day for America." While many nations scramble for lower rates, some of Trump's tariff decisions stand out for their truly unconventional justifications, intertwining with political, social, and geopolitical agendas, reflecting a unique approach to trade policy. First, consider the Brazil tariff, a stunning example of trade policy linked to political prosecution, a 50% reciprocal tariff on most Brazilian imports. Despite a U.S. trade surplus with Brazil, was explicitly tied to Trump's dissatisfaction with the judicial prosecution of former Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro. Trump publicly condemned Bolsonaro's trial as a witch hunt, directly linking the July 10th tariff announcement to this domestic legal affair of a sovereign nation, a significant departure from standard trade disputes. Next, Canada's trade deal jeopardized by Palestinian state recognition. Canada, the US's second-largest trading partner, found its ongoing trade negotiations complicated by its diplomatic stance. Trump stated that Canada's plans to recognize a Palestinian state would make it very hard to reach a deal. This direct link between a country's foreign policy decision, recognizing Palestine at the UN, and the progress of trade talks highlights Trump's use of tariffs as leverage beyond purely economic considerations, potentially leading to a 35% tariff on Canadian goods not covered by the USMCA. Then there are the fentanyl tariffs on Mexico, Canada, and China. Earlier this year, Trump imposed 25% tariffs on Mexican and most Canadian imports, and 10% on goods from China, explicitly demanding they curb the flow of fentanyl and illegal immigrants into the U.S. This use of trade tariffs to address social issues like the opioid crisis and immigration control is highly unconventional. The fentanyl tariffs were later increased for China to 20% and threatened to be raised for Mexico to 30%, and Canada to 35% by August 1st. This policy demonstrates a broad interpretation of trade leverage, extending it to complex societal challenges. We also see secondary tariffs for geopolitical alignment. Trump has threatened to impose secondary tariffs on countries engaged in geopolitical actions deemed unfavorable to U.S. interests. For instance, he announced a 10% tariff on all products from countries aligning themselves with the anti-American policies of BRICS nations. Furthermore, an executive order granted the Secretary of State discretion to impose a 25% tariff on imports from any country that directly or indirectly purchases Venezuelan oil. With similar threats made for countries importing Iranian or Russian oil, these measures clearly aim to use trade as a tool to influence international alliances and energy procurement, expanding tariffs far beyond traditional trade imbalance arguments. Finally, the proposed tariffs on movies. Among the numerous product-specific tariffs, the proposed 100% tariff on all foreign-produced movies stands out as particularly unusual. While other product tariffs often have industrial or national security justifications, a tariff on movies seems to delve into cultural or media influence. Trump authorized Commerce and the USTR to investigate and implement these tariffs, suggesting a unique application of trade policy to the entertainment sector. These examples vividly illustrate President Donald Trump's aggressive and multifaceted approach to trade, using tariffs not just as economic tools, but as instruments to advance a wider range of political, social, and geopolitical objectives under his America First agenda. As the August 1st deadline arrives, these tariffs and others will be enforced, potentially costing U.S. households an average of $2,400 extra in 2025 due to higher import prices. The legality of these reciprocal tariffs is currently under review by a federal appeals court, which considered arguments on July 31st regarding the president's authority to impose such measures under emergency laws. The outcome of this legal challenge could have significant implications for future trade policy. Money